The cargo bay of Station Kepler 7 smelled like burnt coolant and disappointment. Marin Dax wiped grease from his hands onto a rag that had long since given up on being clean, squinting at the malfunctioning hydraulic coupling that had occupied the last 4 hours of his life. Around him, the station hummed with its usual chaos. Traders bartering in 6 different languages, dock workers hauling crates of exotic goods, and the ever-present announcements echoing through corroded speakers. He didn't notice the hatchling at first. She was small, barely the size of a house cat, with obsidian scales that caught the harsh fluorescent light in fractured rainbows. Her wings, delicate, translucent things, were folded tight against her body as she huddled behind a stack of plasma conduits. Her eyes, massive and golden, tracked every movement in the bay with the hypervigilance of prey. Marin spotted her during his 3rd trip to the tool locker. He froze mid-step. A Draconis infantis. A dragon hatchling. Here, on a human-operated refueling station at the ass end of the outer reaches, the galaxy knew of the Draconis, ancient, powerful, nearly mythical beings whose adult forms could cross star systems on wings of folded space-time. Their hatchlings were precious beyond measure, raised in carefully controlled environments by their own kind, guarded jealously. Seeing one alone was like finding a Fabergé egg in a dumpster. Marin approached slowly, hands visible, movements careful. The hatchling's scales rippled with chromatophoric terror, shifting from black to deep purple. "Hey there, little one," he said softly, crouching low. "You lost?" The hatchling's mental voice touched his mind like a whisper through fog, a psychic ability all Draconis possessed. "Nobody wants me." The words carried such profound loneliness that Marin felt his chest constrict. He'd heard that tone before, in his own voice, years ago, before he'd found purpose in the rhythmic certainty of machines. "What do you mean?" he asked. "Defective," she projected. And the word tasted like ash. "My wings won't grow right. I cannot soar between stars. My clutch. They left me here." Said humans collect broken things. Marin sat down fully, forgetting the hydraulic coupling, forgetting everything except those enormous golden eyes. The galaxy had many wonders, but it also had a casual cruelty that never failed to surprise him. The Draconis were advanced, yes, but advancement and compassion didn't always walk the same path. "What's your name?" he asked. "Arius." A pause. "It means lesser flame in the old tongue." "Well, Arius," Marin said, extending his hand palm up. "I'm Marin, and I'm pretty sure whoever named you was an idiot." The hatchling tilted her head, confusion rippling across her empathic projection. "You're not a lesser anything," Marin continued. "You're just different. And humans?" He smiled. "We've built our entire civilization on being too stubborn to accept what we can't do. Maybe your clutch is right. Maybe we do collect broken things, but that's because we know something they don't." "What?" "That broken and different aren't the same word." Arius crept forward, one hesitant claw at a time, until her small head rested against Marin's palm. Her scales were warm, warmer than he'd expected, and they hummed with a faint vibration like touching a purring engine. "You would keep me?" The hope in her mental voice was almost painful. Marin thought about his cramped quarters on the station, his solitary meals, the way his fellow mechanics called him the hermit. He thought about responsibility and complications, and all the logical reasons to say no. Then he thought about golden eyes and a voice that whispered, "Nobody wants me," into the void. "Yeah," he said. "Yeah, I would." The weeks that followed taught Marin that caring for a dragon hatchling was like maintaining a fusion reactor that could also experience emotions and accidentally set things on fire when startled. Arius couldn't soar between stars, but she could certainly incinerate his spare parts inventory when a sudden noise frightened her. But she could also curl up on his workbench while he repaired circuits, projecting contentment like warm sunlight. She could learn human languages with frightening speed, her vocabulary expanding from psychic impressions to actual words. She could make him laugh with her observations about station life, delivered with the blunt honesty only children possessed. "Why do humans shake hands?" she asked one evening, watching him greet a client. "You have perfectly functional telepathy-capable brains. You just choose not to use them. We like things we can see," Marin explained, scratching under her chin in the spot that made her scales shimmer with pleasure. Makes trust more tangible. Inefficient, she declared, but her tone was fond. News of the human mechanic with a dragon hatchling spread through the station's gossip networks like wildfire. Some species found it scandalous, a draconis raised by a human. Unthinkable. Others found it merely curious, another example of human eccentricity. The draconis themselves sent an emissary. She arrived in full regalia, an adult dragon in humanoid form, scales gleaming like polished obsidian, power radiating from her like heat from a star. She found Marin in his workshop, Arius perched on his shoulder, both covered in hydraulic fluid and completely absorbed in rebuilding a thruster assembly. "I am Velastre," the emissary announced, her mental voice resonating with authority. "I have come for the defective hatchling." "I have come for the defective hatchling." Arius went rigid. Marin felt her tiny claws dig into his shoulder. "She has a name," Marin said quietly, not looking up from his work. "It's Arius. The designation is irrelevant. She cannot fulfill her purpose. She will be remanded to a sanctuary where she'll be warehoused with other defectives," Marin interrupted, finally meeting the emissary's eyes. "Thanks, but she's good here." Velastre's form rippled with irritation. "You do not understand what you have taken responsibility for, human. A draconis lives for millennia. She will watch you age and die in what, to her, will feel like mere moments." "She will be loved," Marin said simply, "for however long I've got, and maybe she'll remember that someone thought she was worth keeping. Maybe that'll matter. Later. When I'm gone, and she's got millennia ahead of her." The emissary stared at him. Then, slowly, she looked at Arius. Really looked at her. The hatchling's scales were brighter than they'd been at the clutching grounds. Her eyes were clear, and when Velastre extended her psychic senses, she felt something she hadn't expected. Happiness. Pure, uncomplicated, genuine happiness. "Very well," Velastre said after a long moment. "But know this, Marin Dax, you have made yourself responsible for something precious. Do not make us regret this allowance." She left in a shimmer of folded space. Arius exhaled a tiny tongue of flame relief, joy, and residual fear all mixing together. "She called me precious," she whispered. "You are," Marin said, returning to his work. "Now, hand me that torque wrench. This thruster assembly isn't going to rebuild itself." "Yes, Marin." And in a workshop on a forgotten station at the edge of charted space, a human and a dragon built something neither of their species had quite anticipated. A family forged not from biology or tradition, but from the simple, radical act of caring when the rest of the galaxy had moved on. The coupling finally clicked into place. Marin smiled. Sometimes, broken things just needed the right hands to hold them.